Calling to order the first meeting of 2025, January the 8th. Please rise and we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess we don't have Kathy tonight.
Thank you. Our city clerk is out with her health issue this evening, so we have our HR coordinator, Joanna Spencer, filling in. She will now call the roll.
Councilmember Hood.
Here.
Councilmember Iwanu is absent. Councilmember Luke.
Here.
Councilmember Luther.
Here.
Councilmember Noors.
Here.
Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Satel.
Here.
Councilmember Westgy.
Here.
Okay, we have 7 out of 8 council members present. Next item on the agenda is the agenda approval.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Luke, seconded by Councilmember Luther to approve tonight's agenda. Any changes, deletions? I see none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Tonight's agenda is approved. Next item is public comments. We have one card this evening. Mr. Mike Pinson, please state your address to the city clerk.
Michael Pinson, 11420 Old St. Charles Road. I guess I'm coming before the council tonight. History, and I moved into Bridgeton in '67.
Can you pull the mic down? Can you pull the mic down so we can hear you?
Speak closer into the mic.
Okay.
Thanks.
Mike Pinson, 11420 Old St. Charles Road. I want to bring up something that I moved into Bridgeton in '67, and one of the things that really set Bridgeton off in the wintertime, you could wake up in the morning and the streets would be plowed clear, and you'd think, wow, this is great, the whole city's like this, until you got out of Bridgeton and see that it wasn't like that. And where I'm going with this is Mr. Lloyd's gone, Vern's retired also, and now we have new people in there, and I don't think they're on top of their game. And the last snow was an embarrassment in that I didn't see a snow plow till 7 o'clock the next morning, and nobody did anything at all. And of course, some people would say, well, you need to hire new people. Well, I think you need to find out who's doing their job and who's not doing their job. And if they're not doing their job, get rid of them and then hire new people. But I think that, I don't know how the rest of the people feel, but I'm embarrassed by it right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from December 18th. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke to approve the minutes from December 18th. Are there any changes, deletions, friendly amendments?
Mayor.
Councilmember Luke?
Thank you. Just a simple grammatical thing on line 249. I believe it should read an ordinance of the city of Bridgeton.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor of the change, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Now, all in favor of the minutes as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. The minutes from December 18th, 2024 are approved. Next item on the agenda, I'm going to call forward our police chief, Mark Masati.
Good evening, council and Mayor. Thank you for giving me a few minutes to proudly introduce our newest police officer with the city. As you know, we like to come up and introduce them so you can see the familiar face and one of the newcomers that's going to be patrolling your neighborhoods. But James Katz is his name. He does have 12 years of experience in law enforcement, so he comes to us with a background at his previous department. He was a field training officer, which I think is a testament to his abilities that he was entrusted with training new officers. So I'm very proud to bring him on board to our police family. He does have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Lindenwood University, and he was Missouri Post certified through the Eastern Missouri Police Academy when he went through 12 years ago. So without further ado, I just wanted to introduce James Katz, our newest police officer. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Officer Katz, for joining us. And we appreciate the service that you're going to be offering to the city. As I tell all the new hired police officers, I'd like you to get out and meet the residents, because they sure like to meet the police and law enforcement officers that take care of them. So looking forward to having you aboard here for the next 30, 35 years, hopefully. Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we're going to recess now for a public hearing. I'm going to call to the podium Mr. Zach Greatens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. This public hearing is for application number 24-PZ-08. This is a request to rezone approximately 472 acres of land located generally to the east and south of North Lindbergh Boulevard, to the north of Natural Bridge Road and I-70, and to the west of the municipal boundary, the eastern municipal boundary. The existing zoning includes a number of zoning districts: R2, R3, R4, R5, R6, B2, B3, M1, B5B and B5C planned commercial districts, and M3C a planned manufacturing district. The proposal is to rezone the 472 acres to M3W, a planned manufacturing district. This went to the Planning Commission at their December 9th meeting, at which a public hearing was held. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the requested rezoning by a vote of 10-0. This slide I just wanted to mention because we don't always have rezonings to M3 or B5s, but the M3 district, it's the planned manufacturing district. It's a type of planned development that the ordinance allows, the zoning ordinance allows. So as opposed to rezoning to one of maybe our conventional zoning districts like the B2, which is along St. Charles Rock Road or here on National Bridge, or the M1 to the north of 270, the M3 is allowed when a site is unique in its character, in which there maybe needs to be some flexibility. So as stated in the zoning ordinance, the purpose of M3 districts is to encourage quality design and site planning and a combination of commercial or manufacturing land uses when appropriate. When property is zoned to the M3 district, there are new district regulations that accompany that area specifically. It's site-specific, and that includes permitted uses, land use, building setbacks, height, site coverage, landscaping, and any other applicable regulations. These areas are depicted on the zoning map as M3. They each have a letter assigned to them. So that's why this one in particular is proposing for M3W, because that's the next letter available. So that will have its own specific regulations in the zoning ordinance as well. M3 districts may include a mix of uses ranging from commercial and manufacturing, permitted uses in commercial and manufacturing districts. So here's a map just showing the aerial view of this area. As stated, it's 472 acres. all of which is owned by the city of St. Louis as part of the airport property. Bounded by Lindbergh on the west and east, the municipal boundary, Lindbergh on the west and north, the municipal boundary on the east, National Bridge Road and I-70 on the south. As you can see, a majority of it is the airfield, the runway there on the south. The areas to the north and the upper are formerly, some of it was a buyout area, but there was some businesses there years ago, and they're all gone now. The area to the northeast portion where you see some of the building, that's where the airport has their airfield maintenance facility, and I'll talk about that in a little while. It's surrounded by mostly airport land uses. So to the east, you can see is other airport functions. To the west, also airport. Just off the map, it's not on this map, but the only thing over there that's not airport to the west is Berry Hill Golf Course, but that's still a little bit ways off. To the south, there's Leonardo DRS there to the southwest. Hunter Engineering has their campus to the south and some airport parking, and then Interstate 70 to the south. As you can see, as I mentioned in the introduction, this area has a wide mix of zoning districts currently in place, residential zoning districts, commercial zoning districts. These are all still in place from the prior to the buyout, when these areas were all actually used for purposes that they were zoned for. And when that all took place, none of the zoning was changed. So that's what the proposed rezoning is for, is to clean that up and allow the airport to continue their operations as they currently are. I wanted to mention too, the comprehensive plan. This is a screenshot from the 2013 comprehensive plan future land use map. The general area is circled in the red circle, but of course it's all to the north of Natural Bridge there. The comprehensive plan shows this area as airport use. That's what its intended use is long-term as well. The comprehensive plan states that this area is meant for airport uses, to protect areas devoted to public use aviation and associated activities, and to protect airport operations and ensure compatible relationship between airport operations and other uses in the vicinity. Just a little bit of background. So as I had mentioned in the report, a lot of this was initiated when me and other public works staff started discussing with airport staff their proposal to redevelop their airfield maintenance facility, which is in that yellow circle. So we initiated those discussions several months ago, and going through that and talking about building codes and all that, we were taking a look at the zoning and realized, the current zoning, I think this area has a few different zoning districts that intersect it, which don't allow even the current airfield maintenance facility. We talked about rezoning that area, but then the more we looked at it, and as you can see on that mix of zoning that's no longer consistent, that's when we started discussing, well, let's take a look at rezoning all these areas, and that's where it all initiated. So in terms of site suitability for the proposed M3W district, as stated, the property is all owned by airport, which is owned by the city of St. Louis. The existing zoning is inconsistent with current land uses in place from prior to airport expansion. And the M3 district, due to the uniqueness of the area, it was staff's opinion that M3 is really the appropriate zoning for this area, and it would allow the airport to continue their operations as they currently are today, as well as their redevelopment of their airfield maintenance facilities. Also mentioned too, there is significant buffering around the perimeter of the site as well, around this entire area. And part of that's due just to aviation regulations as well. Here's a close-up aerial imagery of the airfield maintenance facility. Just wanted to show that since that's really what initiated these discussions. I do have the entire district language. In terms of permitted uses, it's all airport-related land uses. Some of these items were discussed at the Planning Commission meeting, and ultimately, it's the airport's intention to continue using this area for airport operations. A couple of Planning Commission members had asked about, what if there was a hotel proposed in this area. That would require a text amendment, and we could deal with that at a later date. But at this point, the airport has specifically stated that's not their intention for this area. So the proposed regulations were really geared towards the airport being allowed to continue their operations. And then here's also the site plan that was included from the airport showing the area without the zoning. Are there any questions for me?
Councilmember Satel?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Basically, this northern half of it that you see there, a lot of it's not really even developed at all. Does that mean that they could be building some warehouses in that area with, on the 3-acre minimums you talked about, that as long as it's airport related?
Well, you're talking about the area, basically the northern
Correct.
half or northern third.
Correct. Like by Banshee Road, north.
Oh, yeah.
So
So-
that area that's right there that you see along the upper hillside, an open area
Yeah.
right there. I'm just asking about that.
Well, there is an office building back there as well, which was built into these regulations. I mean, ultimately, the way these regulations are set up, it would be for airport operations. If there was some future proposed land use there that wasn't airport related, that we would meet with the airport to discuss how it fits into this district or not. At that time, we would discuss if a text amendment was necessary or not. If it was airport related, there's a chance it might not require that. But that one's kind of hard to predict too, depending on what the airport wants to do with
So
that
no
area.
independent, different companies are gonna go in there unless it's airport related, right?
As part of this, no.
Okay.
That would be for the airport to determine down the road. I'm not going to sit here and say never, but at this point in time, they've stated that's not their intention, and this zoning is set up specifically for airport operations.
Right. That's
Yep, yep.
Councilmember Lou?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Greitens, the Planning Commission asked this question, so maybe you can reiterate it for council. The areas where the districting crosses the dotted line, what will happen on the area outside the dotted line?
So yes, and that question did come up. So for example, the airport has a parking lot there down in the south middle, lower middle, that's zoned R4. At this point, I mean, since that's currently operating as airport parking, Natural Bridge made such a nice boundary that we thought let's clean up what we can now within a nice definable area and move forward with that. That doesn't necessarily mean that we couldn't address that at a later date. At this point in time, it just wasn't thought of as of a high level importance, and this area kind of made sense.
So, for example, on the west side, the R2, B2, R3, R4, those will all stay as is
There-
outside of the airport boundary?
Yeah, there will be some small areas that do get cut off, which just become challenging when you're talking about coming up with a legal description specifically especially for areas that were platted as parcels of property so long ago and aren't even used for that anymore. Yeah.
Any further questions? Councilmember Norris?
Yeah, just simplistic, Mr. Greiten, it's just cleaning up paperwork. It's really
Correct.
just get it all in one.
Yes, we clean up these areas that are no longer consistent with the existing land use.
Right.
And it allows the airport to continue operations, brings it all into conformance into one unified district, and for them to address their maintenance facility redevelopment. Yep.
Yeah, I see some R4 under the runway there, so
Mhm.
I guess that wouldn't be able to build some houses.
Correct. Not at this time.
Just joking a little bit. Thank you, I appreciate that.
I see no further questions. Thank you,
Thanks.
Mr. Reed. Is a member from the airport staff here like to come forward? Please state your name and address.
Yep,
For
I'm
the
Brett
city
Brooks.
clerk.
Yep, Brett Brooks with EDSI, 3107 Edgar Avenue. The airport reached out to me to kind of help with the application process, and really want to say thanks to Zach for all his help through the process, and he covered a lot of the details. This was kind of born out of an effort just to engage with the city and make sure that we're looped in with what's going on out there. And I think Zach's got a video of the new facility that I think he was going to share. But yeah, the intent is to any development that's gonna happen out there is gonna be in service to the airfield and operations, and just a cleanup of paperwork. So, like I said, just wanted to make sure that the city's engaged as things are progressing out there. There's a lot of exciting things happening, so I want to make sure we're talking with the city about all those. Was there any specific questions for me?
Councilmember Luther?
Yes, well, since you mentioned new things, are you at liberty to talk about anything new or big that you'll be adding or building out there?
Well, sure. I think we're going to share some details about the actual new maintenance facility that's going to go in this area, which kind of was the genesis of this. Obviously, there's the consolidated terminal that's coming. There's going to be a lot of details shared coming up, and like I said, just want to make sure this all started with just trying to make sure the city's engaged with what the airport's doing out there. So, Zach, did you want to share the video? If there's any other questions? Yeah.
Any further questions? Okay, you can go ahead and play the video.
Sounds good. Thank you
Thank
again.
you.
Yeah.
It's only 3 minutes.
Everything's so blurry on the left until I get this cataract.
That's different. They're all this year.
It sounds,
Is this one X-rated or what? Was
Is this, is this from your vacation, Zach?
You hit the X-rated one.
sounds like at the beach.
Yeah, I was just
There we
gonna
go.
say.
good, thank you. Any members of the public that would like to come forward and speak in favor of this rezoning? I see none. Any members of the public that would like to come forward and speak against this rezoning? I see none. Okay, we'll get back to our regular agenda. Next item on the agenda is consideration of new bills. I believe we have 5 of them this evening before us. First one is first consideration for bill number 6474. Councilmember Luther.
Thank you, Mayor Hine. Move for first reading of Bill number 6474.
Second?
Motion is made by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke for first consideration of bill number 6474. All in favor say aye. Opposed? I hear none. Please continue.
An ordinance of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, submitting to the qualified voters of the city at the general municipal election to be held in the city on April 8th, 2025, a proposed amendment to subsections A, B, and D of Section 4.02 of the Charter of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, as it relates to the qualifications and selection of the municipal judge. Move to table Bill number 6474.
Second?
Motion is made by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke to table bill number 6474. All in favor say aye. Opposed? I hear none. Bill number 6474 is tabled. Next item, bill number 6475 for first consideration. Councilmember Luther.
Thank you, Mayor. Move for first reading of Bill number 6475.
Second?
Motion is made by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke for first consideration of bill number 6475. All in favor say aye. Opposed? I hear none. Please continue.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute an agreement substantially in the form attached hereto with St. Louis County on behalf of the St. Louis County Emergency Communications Commission to continue the city's participation in a county-wide emergency communications radio system. Move to table bill number 6475.
Second?
Motion is made by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Luke to table bill number 6475. All in favor say aye. Opposed? I hear none. Bill number 6475 is tabled. Next item is first consideration of bill number 6476. Councilmember Weschi.
Thank you, Mayor. I move for first reading of Bill 6476.
Second?
Motion is made by Councilmember Weschi, seconded by Councilmember Sattel for first consideration of bill number 6476. All in favor say aye. Opposed? I hear none. Please continue.
An ordinance of the, an ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of Bridgeton, repealing section 130.060 is set forth under chapter 130 of the code and adopting a new section 130.060, fixing the fees and charges for the Parks and Recreation Department programs, services, and activities. I move to table Bill 6476.
Second?
Motion is made by Councilmember Weschi, seconded by Councilmember Sattel to table bill number 6476. All in favor say aye. Opposed? I hear none. Bill number 6476 is tabled. Next item, first consideration of bill number 6477. Councilmember Weschi again.
I move for first reading of Bill 6477.
Second?
Motion is made by Councilmember Weschi, seconded by Councilmember Sattel for first consideration of bill number 6477. All in favor say aye. Opposed? I hear none. Please continue.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute an agreement substantially in the form attached hereto with Weiss Design Group for professional design services associated with the Gentry Park Phase 2 grant project in the amount of $59,665.56. I move to table Bill 6477.
Second?
Motion is made by Councilmember Weschi, seconded by Councilmember Sattel to table bill number 6477. All in favor say aye. Opposed? I hear none. Bill number 6477 is tabled. Next item is first consideration of bill number 6478. Councilmember Luke.
Thank you, Mayor. I make a motion for first reading of Bill 6478.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Luke, seconded by Councilmember Sattel for first consideration of bill number 6478. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Please continue.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, application number 24-PZ-08, to rezone approximately 472 acres of land located north of Natural Bridge Road, east and south of North Lindbergh Boulevard, and west of the Bridgeton municipal boundary from R2, R3, R4, R5, R6, B2, B3, M1, B5B, B5C, M3C, to M3 Planned Manufacturing District. Move for tabling Bill 6478.
Second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Luke, seconded by Councilmember Luther to table bill number 6478. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. Bill number 6478 is tabled. Next item, attorney's report.
I have nothing, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Council communications. I'll start with Councilmember Westy this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I wanted to thank the Bridgeton Street Department. I know that the snowfall was a tough one. It's been about, it seems, I think I was seeing on Facebook 13 years since we had a snowfall that really was similar to the one we have right now. Overall, the people that I saw online have been relatively positive about this. I know I ended up going out to take a look at the roads, and you could definitely see Bridgeton's roads were doing a lot better than St. Charles Rock Road. And also you could end up seeing on Fifi where the Bridgeton area stopped and Maryland Heights started. The Bridgeton was quite a bit cleaner, not trying to throw any shade over to Maryland Heights or anything, but you could definitely see where one area stopped and one started. So thank you very much for putting in the time for that. Also, I enjoyed seeing the police department making Officer Olaf out front of City Hall. I was happy to see he was still standing guarding the City Hall when I drove in today. So little things like that I do always kind of get a chuckle out of when I see on Facebook. So Mayor, back to you. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Sattel.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, again, I'll discuss a little bit about the snow as well. Myself, I'm a snowplower, so I'm out there during this whole time too, seeing what's going on. And Officer Stone even showed up there at Metro shooting because people were actually getting stuck out there in the snow on the rock road, like Weshy mentioned. And I don't know if MoDOT got around to finally getting the rock road cleaned up all the way to there or not, but as you're plowing these lots, and then you're supposed to clean out the entrances, and the MoDOT property is another 20 feet out before they actually plowed. It makes it pretty difficult to kind of open up these businesses to keep them ready to go. I think Bridgeton did a pretty excellent job as far as at the beginning, as they have to do rotations because they need their rest and back. That was very difficult, I'm sure, for logistics. Myself, I had to get by on 2 hours once and another time with 3 hours on once. And so with this long duration, it takes a tough time. I know like 6 o'clock yesterday morning, I'm driving down Raymond and over Midview, and none of that had been plowed. It'd been plowed maybe a day earlier, but it was already like 6 inches and not really done. But later on, it did get caught up because I saw that they were over on Old St. Charles and going in and out of Boston's Farm and Harmon Estates. So I know they eventually did take care of it. But some of the properties I was trying to plow, I try to make sure that the road gets done first. I also noticed that, I don't know, I was kind of wondering how many citations did we issue for the people parking on our snow routes and on the odd side of the roads. It seemed like there was an awful lot of cars out there parked, and now as you go back around yesterday or today, you can see where they were parked and they moved them out and parked their vehicle in a clean spot. But now our street department can't get out and clean the rest of the streets, especially like you walk through, like drive through, like West Haven subdivision or others, and you can see where they allowed the cars to park out there. So I think we need to do better on getting the citations out and letting, and if we have to tow things in snow plowing, because sometimes you could barely get a vehicle through the openings with a vehicle with a snow plow. And mine's only an 8-foot plow, but I can just imagine the street trucks trying to get through some of these openings and not trying to scrape up or knock over the mirrors. So hopefully we can address that and take care of the snow issues a little better next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Patel?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just want to say thank you to everybody who dealt with the storm, the officers and all the people from the street division. So thank you for that. We haven't had a snowstorm like that in a while. So thank you for trying to keep everybody safe. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Luther?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of dates. Our next council meeting is next week. We're off a little bit with, this would have normally occurred on New Year's Day. So we have 2 meetings back to back. And also to mention that our next Ward 3 meeting, city council meeting will be on the 22nd here at 6:30 PM at our new time. And then to talk a little bit about snow removal, again, I heard, my street looked great, and I heard on social media, I don't comment a lot on social media, but I see a lot of comments, they were all good. But, great people make a great community, and on Monday afternoon, I saw the president of our HOA, who I didn't recognize, completely bundled up, walking through the neighborhood with a snow shovel, and she was making sure that some of our single elderly residents had their driveway shoveled, and personally saw to it that at least 3 people had their driveway shoveled. And flipping that, I know there are people in the summer who help out and reach out to individuals, particularly elderly individuals, and help with grass cutting. They're silent warriors, but they make our community great. Great people make our community great, and we sure have them here in Bridgeton, so thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Luke?
Thank you, Mayor. First, Happy New Year to everyone. I'm glad to see we all made it safely to get here. Thank you to our streets department and our police and our fire departments for the response to Snowmageddon. I heeded the warnings and the requests on the news to stay off the streets Sunday and Monday, so the fact that there was only 1 lane on my street was fine with me. I didn't have a problem with that. By Tuesday, it was clear. And it was also evident Tuesday morning when I had to go outside of Bridgeton that Bridgeton had done a terrific job. Our streets were completely fine, and I didn't have any trouble until I got to other locations. So thank you again to our wonderful departments here in Bridgeton. Likewise, as Mrs. Luther said, myself and some of our neighbors, we went out and did several driveways on Monday, and that was really nice to see, just everybody coming out and helping each other out, helping out the neighbors. The first Stormwater Subcommittee meeting of 2025 will resume in either late February or early March, and there's no reason to talk about it now, and there's nothing that we can do in the snow, so we'll plan those dates. And then thank you to our police department for coming and overseeing our council meetings. I feel extremely safe being here, knowing that they're here watching over us. And finally, my prayers go out for the safety of those impacted by these massive weather events that we're going to continue to see across the country, especially the wildfires out in California right now. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Norris?
Thank you. Happy New Year to all. I hope 25 is better than 24. We had a rough year. I want to thank to our police, our street and parks department, cleaning our streets and parking lots. Amazing job. I appreciate all your hard work. We are spoiled rotten with our people. I am disappointed with some of the neighbors that they have open driveways and they don't put their cars up there, which would make our people at least easier and safer for our drivers and for their neighbors. We could have the streets widened. So I wish they would consider pulling their cars. And I think we would even look the other way, pulling it up off into their front yard even. I don't like saying that, but that at least they could get it cleaned and then they could move it back. But we do need to issue some of that. I did see, there was on our main roads, our snow routes, cars were parked. So I wish they could do a better job, our neighbors. And then also I am reminding everyone, the Business Community Committee, did I get that right? Partnership, sorry, I don't even know what I'm leading, but it is, I'm gonna change it to 5:45, Steve, so you can get there, because it's our first meeting, so that's next Wednesday in the multipurpose room, so we can get started. So I believe that's Steve, Kathy, Iawanu, and Kathy Luther, and myself. So be there, be square. So we'll get this started and see what we can do with our businesses and help them be part of our community, or at least a little bit more part of the community with more information. So we'll see you there. And again, thanks to all our staff. They're amazing, and nothing is perfect. But I feel our reputation, as I said, my husband went out, he's my reconnaissance, and he went out trying to get over to the store over there on the Rock Road, went down Old St. Charles, across, Lindbergh, down 80. Now 80, of course, is covered by St. Anne, and came in the back way, but he said St. Charles Rock Road was nothing but snow covered, and so was Lindbergh. So we are very spoiled and very fortunate to have such an amazing group, and if we could stay in Bridgeton, it would be the utopia that we all would want. So, thank you very much.
Councilmember Norris, do you have an update on Smalls Sliders?
Well, I have not. Mr. Hibbert has not called me, and I think they're having trouble with now the weather. I think they forget, he is from the New Orleans area, but he lives here in St. Louis, so he should know. But, of course, that's a franchise. So I think corporate just says, this is what you do, but nothing yet. So they're not even, St. Louis County, of course, weren't working on Monday, so I'm sure they're backlogged with everything. But we'll get there. We'll get those hamburgers out.
Thank you. Councilmember Hood.
Yes, I would like to just remind everyone that when we have these snowfall events, that the calls for service for the police department and all of those in public safety go through the roof. And we have to prioritize that particular type of activity. And it's just very difficult to make it to the snow routes for those parking issues, and we rely on the street department if there's an issue to get a hold of us so that we can cut somebody loose, or at least that was always my experience. And I doubt seriously if that has changed very much. So please keep that in mind. I know these guys are working hard, and I know they do the best they can, and cut them some slack, please. And then I have some very, very bad news. Dr. Patrick Oberle passed away last week.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
And he's been a Bridgeton resident for a very long time. And he had his chiropractic business here for 28 years. He was a dear friend to the city, and I hope that we can keep his family in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sittell, did you have a question?
Yes, in their statement, I think it's kind of important. We haven't had any mail in 3 days, and we're not gonna get any tomorrow because of the presidential, I guess, so we get maybe something noticed out. It won't come up. The first mail of this week will be on Friday, getting delivered to
No,
our
mail was
homes and
delivered
our
today.
citizens. Did they finally get mail today? No, we didn't get mail today, but I know they're also closed tomorrow, shutting down tomorrow because of the presidential, for Jimmy Carter, so.
Okay,
I just want to learn.
thank you. Staff reports. I'm gonna start with Mr. Kane, Parks and Recreation.
Just wanted to offer a recap on the membership promo that we had going for a couple of weeks. We sold 43 new memberships, or 43 total memberships at the rec center during that time. That is a slight decrease from the first 2 years we did it. In 23, we did 52, and last year we did 61. Nothing else to report.
Any questions of Mr. Kane? I have one. Where are we on the proposed or possible billboard over here on Gallatin?
National Parks did approve us. We have a couple of requirements that we still need to fulfill, but they did, pending us fulfilling those requirements, they did approve the conversion. So we'll be able to proceed with the billboard soon.
Okay. Are all the legal issues out of the way?
No.
No. Okay.
No, it hasn't advanced anywhere since Brendan started dealing with so if it's been cleared by the Park Service, then I think we can probably resume the lease negotiation.
Yeah, and Brendan and I have talked. I'm waiting for something in writing. And once we have that, then we'll proceed with their attorney and Mr. Lindenbroker.
Okay, so it's still a good possibility we're gonna get the billboard, right?
I think it sounds like it's better than it was
Okay.
a month ago.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just contingent on finishing those requirements.
okay, thank you. Mr. Peterson, Public Works?
I have nothing to report tonight. Thank you.
Chief Masati?
Good evening. I just wanted to let everybody know that we're going to have the Scott Armstrong Memorial ceremony. We do that every year. It's going to be this Friday, January 10th at 9 a.m. here in the council chambers. Hopefully the weather holds out. It's not too bad to get here. But as you know, this is going to be the 20th anniversary of his ultimate sacrifice. So I'll put another email blast out to everybody, but we like to honor him and his family for what he did for the city. So I just wanted to remind everybody of that. Also, on the snow event, I just wanted to let the council know that, so proceeding up to the snow event, obviously, we knew that it was a significant storm that was coming through. So we put out numerous social media posts just advising about the snow routes. And then in addition to that, we also printed up cards that we had the officers go up and down the snow routes and put them on the vehicles prior to the event. Obviously, there's a few cars out there that didn't comply, but when that happens, we do rely, like Councilmember Hood had mentioned, on the street department and notifying us, and then we try to work with the homeowners to make that happen. So I know there's a few scattered throughout the city where that happened. What I can tell you too is I came in on Monday and worked. I got here about 9 o'clock, and I commute from St. Charles County. And I could tell you, I actually have photographs I took out there and along the route. And when I hit Natural Bridge, just inside the an intersection of the Rock Road, it was completely clear. And that was it's time stamped at 8:50 on Monday morning. That was significant. And I know that the officers reported back that the street department did an outstanding job in clearing our streets. We did have numerous motor assist calls throughout the event, a number of traffic accidents that we responded to, and in addition to that, we had, unfortunately, 2 sudden deaths within the city within that 36-hour period that they worked. So fortunately, the street department had an outstanding job of getting those side streets cleared so we could get emergency equipment into those 2 different homes in the city to handle those sudden death calls. So it's unfortunate that happens, but life goes on and we have to respond to those. But I just wanted to shout out to our street department that they did a significant job. And I know when I came in from St. Charles County, there was not one street that was clear. The interstate had 1 lane that was cleared. It still was snow packed. And then when, like I said, I got the Natural Bridge and it was all concrete. I have the picture that I can show you that I took of it. So anyway, kudos to the street department, outstanding job. I know that there was numerous Facebook posts about that too. So thank you to them for doing that. I just wanted to let everybody know that. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Bookout?
I have nothing at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Happy New Year to everybody, people that are left here. I'm looking forward to a healthy and productive year, 2025. Think about this. We think we have a large budget at almost $32 million. The state of Missouri is $51 billion. How about dealing with those numbers? I think I let our finance officer know that we have a conflict with the Pattonville dinner on the 28th of January with the, it's either the Finance Commission or the Pension Commission. So we'll look at maybe getting that changed, and we'll let the board and commission members know. Don't forget the banner, the most recent banner is still out here in the lobby on the table. and also the 2025 calendars. And then I want to remind staff that there won't be a staff meeting this Friday since it's so close to our last one last Friday. And then I want to thank everybody here in attendance for being here and taking an interest in your city. And one other thing I want to say, I learned a long time ago, and I think maybe all of us up here have, that we can't please all the people all the time, but we can please most of the people some of the time. So I think, going forward that, people need to realize that it's not a perfect world, it's not a perfect country, it's not a perfect city, but we do the best we can. I think that a job was done very well with the streets with this major snow event. I know I want to thank Mr. Bookout. He came and did a wellness check on me yesterday. He actually helped me throw a few shovels of snow to the side off of my driveway. But I know some of the complaints I got were that the snowplow trucks push snow into people's driveways on their aprons and they weren't able to get out. Well, I took that upon myself, not with a snow shovel, but with a regular snub nose shovel, and I dug out, both sides of my driveway so I could get out. But I know some people aren't able to do that. If we can come up with some kind of a solution in the future, we will definitely do that. But we can't stop at every driveway and pull the plow up and not continue pushing the snow. That would just be cost and time prohibitive to do that. So, but I want to thank everybody for being patient with our city employees, and we're always open to suggestions. With that being said, I'd like a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made by Councilmember Hood, seconded by Councilmember Luke to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? I hear none. We're adjourned.